Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Tia Latrice and as always I am so happy to have you here. If you haven't already, please click that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload new content. Alright guys, so I have another super easy, super fun DIY for you. I'm going to show you how I made this wall art canvas, and the very best part guys, we did not even have to use any paint for this, so it's beginner friendly. So to start, you're going to need a blank canvas, some Mod Podge, this can be matte or glossy depending on your preference, a sponge brush, and the tissue paper in the colors of your choosing. Okay, so we're going to start with our tissue paper. Depending on the size of your canvas will determine how many sheets of paper you need to use. I used an 18 by 24 inch canvas, and I realized after starting this process that I really only needed one sheet of tissue paper per color, and even that was more than I needed. It was way more than enough. But you'll kind of see here, I started with 2 sheets of yellow. I'm going to have way more than I need left over at the end. But you can definitely just choose to use one sheet per color so that you don't have an abundance left over that you've already torn. But you can just see I am not really using any particular rhyme or reason. I'm kind of just tearing it off. You know, however it comes, but essentially I wanted it to have like a really naturally torn look. I didn't want to cut it. I guess technically if you're going for that look, you could very easily cut these into little pieces or little strips if you want a lot of straight edges. I did not want straight edges, so I decided to tear these by hand instead. Of course, because of the ends of each of these sheets, I will have some straight edges. I did very strategically, and you'll see that when we get to the part where we're actually adding it to the canvas, I very strategically chose where I placed each of those sheets. So the ones that had the straight edges, I just very intentionally put around the edges of the canvas, and then that way I didn't have to worry about having them really in the body of this piece. So you're going to go ahead and cover your entire canvas with Mod Podge, and it doesn't really have to cover every single spot, but you want to have a good base coat of this Mod Podge because you're going to go ahead and start placing your tissue paper per your visual preference kind of along the body of this canvas. As you can see right here, I started with the edge. You don't particularly have to start with the edge, but like I said, I had some of those straight edges I knew that I didn't want to use in the main portion of this piece, so I literally just lined those all across the edges around the canvas. And then all of the pieces that were kind of just torn on all 4 sides, I just spaced those out on the canvas until I was pleased with the way that it looked. And there's no rhyme, again, there's no rhyme or reason to how you lay these out. Just space them so that you don't have too much of one color in a particular area, unless of course that's the look you're going for. I mean, you can, the possibilities are endless with this. You can get as creative as you would like. I kind of wanted my colors to be spread out quite a bit. And then I'm just gonna fill in all of those empty spots. Now, if you find that your canvas is starting to get a little dry, and the stuff doesn't dry super quick, but you don't have a ton of time before it starts to dry, all you have to do is go back over it with an additional layer of Mod Podge. I mean, it's not going to affect it at all. Just use it as generously as you would like. You just want to make sure that it's not too saturated because you don't want to rip your tissue paper, but just have a nice thin coat that you're laying your tissue paper on top of. And then at the end, we're going to go back over it with more Mod Podge anyway, so you know, you really can't use too much. I think overall for the entire project, I probably used just over a half a bottle. I really didn't need a ton. So if you guys typically watch my videos, you probably already know these are not normal colors that I decorate with. However, my daughter's room is really bright, mostly with pinks and yellows, and I'm doing this piece of art specifically for her wall. She has a little reading nook, so to speak, where she likes to sit and read her books. And her walls are a little bare in that particular spot. So we thought that this would be a nice little piece to add to her room. And you know, she'll be the final judge of how well this turns out. But I started with this pink and silver and yellow color scheme, and we did go back in toward the end and add an additional color per her request. We added some lime green, but of course I don't have to tell you, you guys can use any color that you want. If you wanted to, you know, make this more of a metallic piece, you could even probably use aluminum foil. We didn't go that route, but we used a few different tissue papers, and as you can see, one of them does have like some metallic polka dots. But this is like a really fun, really colorful piece, really easy to do for her room. I think I completed the entire thing in less than an hour. So once you have the majority of your tissue paper laid out, you may want to go ahead and go back over it with a layer of Mod Podge to fill in all of the empty spaces. I did go ahead and finish off the edges first on my piece again, because I wanted to use those flat edges, and then I wanted to have the remainder to just kind of space in between. So you'll see that that's what I'm doing, going along the edges, and then I'll fill in everything else. But once all of your tissue paper is on, then you can cover the entire thing with Mod Podge to seal it. You'll also, you know, fill in any additional spaces or add anything that is visually appealing. I did double layer some of the colors where I felt like some of the white was shining through a little bit too much. But again, as I've said before, this is your creation. You guys can get as colorful and creative as you would like. You can use in as many different colors or as few colors as you want. I think maybe another really cool idea would maybe be to go in with a paint pen if you wanted to kind of outline some of the edges of your tissue paper, or you could also add glitter. The options are literally endless. Alright, so once you've added all of your additional pieces of tissue paper and you've sealed it with the Mod Podge, you're going to want to let it dry for a couple of hours. It really dries pretty quickly. And as I mentioned before, I had a ton of tissue paper left over. So you can always, if you have a bunch left over as well, you can always just put those in some little Ziploc bags, and then you can save those to use for another project. That way you're not wasting all of that additional paper, kind of like I did here. But here is our finished product, and I love the way this turned out. My daughter was very pleased. Unfortunately, the lighting is not very good. It's a little gloomy here today, so we did the best we could. But you can see, you can style this, you know, sitting on a dresser or a nightstand. You can put it up on a wall. It's really up to you and your preference. This is her little reading nook. I think it turned out great, and she does as well. We may do a couple other pieces like this or similar to this in some other areas of the house with some different colors. But this is a super easy way to add some decor to your wall without needing to paint or without having a ton of artistic ability. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this something you'll try on your own? I would love to know. Anyway, I will chat with you guys next time. Please be sure to click that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next DIY.